I'm Leigh Moore, and I'm married to Dale Moore, and we have 2 children, Hunter and Shelby. They're almost 14, almost 11, and we go to Station Hill now. So we grew up in this church and went straight over to Station Hill with the launch team. Honestly, I do remember going down with Gail for the Bible story time. You sit down on the stairs and listen to that. I remember honestly going into childcare with Jackie Davis, and I can't even remember any of the other people other than her in there. Spent lots of time in there. And I remember honestly being with the youth group a lot, even though I was young, because my parents were super involved with the youth. So I was always hanging out with them as well. I remember with going down for story time, it is the most nervous time ever, because you don't know, you know where you're sitting, but as soon as you come back, turn around, everything's different. You were on the left, now you're on the right. That's so nerve-wracking, and everyone was usually standing up at that time. So then trying to find your parents was super nerve-wracking. Overnight trips, retreats, Disciple Now, was a weekend thing. Winter retreats. One got snowed out, and we actually got stuck at the church and had to have the retreat at the church. And just summer youth trips and choir trips. So lots of tripping with the youth.
Well, what was the most fun trip that you went on?
I don't really know. They all were fun for different reasons. I did the puppet team with my dad, who led that, so we always had fun anyway. I mean, it was Mr. B. So it was fun. That's my dad. Everyone loved to be with him, and he was super involved with the youth and with puppets and building obstacles for game nights and things like that. So again, always involved with the youth from when I was little all the way through. So it was a huge part of my life. Yep.
Let's go back. You mentioned one retreat was scheduled and it snowed, and you never got to leave the church. You had the retreat at church?
Correct. We had to meet at church. I can't remember exactly what the trip was for. Part of me feels like it was like a ski trip, but then part of me thinks maybe it was just like a cabin overnight. I can't remember. They all run together kind of. But I do know that we got stuck here. Well, not here, at the old building, and we had to meet in the choir room, that dungeon kind of choir room we had. And we played games, and it was super duper cold, even here. So played games and obviously stayed up like forever and ever. So yes, some of them are still local, so I am able to see them just out and about, random places. You're out shopping and you run into one of them and you catch up, and thank goodness for Facebook now. It's not as hard to catch up. You are able to keep up with people and kind of know what's going on. So you almost pick up right where you left off from even being at Brentwood. So I remember it, and I remember learning things. I remember that it was like shuffle time, because as we grew, we ran out of space, and you'd be in the hallway up above the gym and like this back corner, and then the next time you'd be in the gym with little walls, separating each classroom. That was a interesting time. That was youth group time, I think, and which I did. I had Raja O'Brien. It was her first year of teaching, so she was super nervous, and she came in, I think we were 9th grade maybe, and she loved on us well, and us doing the same to her too. So I actually got baptized, as a younger elementary school age kid. And then over the years, you come in and out. I've always been a believer and always been here at the church. a typical when the doors are open, you're here person and family. But then over the years, just going to Station Hill and just being kind of here and there, I didn't necessarily pull away, but I wasn't as connected, but still connected. So one night, of all people, I wasn't even here. We were doing like evening church for Station Hill, and Aaron Bryant was preaching, and he was talking about molding of the clay and things like that, and how that relates to you and God, and God's molding you. And it just, that particular sermon just hit me, and I was taking notes, and then it was like I found myself like really taking notes, and I said, maybe I should just see if they recorded this, because you write down so much because it means so much to you. And I was doing a Bible study with Leigh Swords and a bunch of girls from Spring Hill, and I rededicated my life then at that and told them about that. We were doing, I believe it was Esther, and all those things just came together, and yeah. My children, and honestly other children, I am on the kid worship lead team at Station Hill, so we actually lead children every Sunday in song and dance and story and Bible verse. So it's not only my children, obviously were in there too, but it's not just them, it's everybody. Yeah. We were, oh gosh, I had knee surgery that summer. So I actually got to be here right after the move. I mean, I wasn't here helping move, but so I was actually more kind of in the know because I wasn't at work. I was, on leave for surgery, but, and I remember thinking, oh gosh, that's a lot bigger building. I'm going to have to be on crutches going down those, you think about those things, because it was little to double the size of where we were, or triple, I don't even know. Just because of the layout of the new building, it was easier to see people, because if you remember, that foyer at 409 was tiny, and you were like sardines in there in between services. People couldn't even get out, so you could get in. And so this foyer is obviously atrium or whatever it's called now, is so much bigger, so you can see people. And then you're obviously, when we were here, we were going from one end of the building to where our children were, so you got to pass lots of people along the way. We lived like a block or two apart, and I do remember going over there for some reason with my dad to look at something. But so yeah, I knew him a little bit just from that, and his wife Creeley was my piano teacher for a while at Lipscomb. So you definitely had that outside of church contact and in church, so you had two different relationships. Just a warm, cuddly bear. That's the best descriptive word I could come up with, just because he's so inviting. I mean, you walk in and he wants a hug and to see how you are and is proud of you and things like that. Dale and I met, I guess, through church. My dad worked with the youth, obviously, we've talked about, and he was Dale's Sunday school teacher for a long time, several years, kind of one of those follow you along the way situations. So he's a family friend first, and then, I got older too, and then it became I'll never forget, my dad said, you need to marry someone like, and he listed all the guys in his class. He was like, Todd Warren, Dale Moore, Neil Hoppy, who else was in that class? I don't remember, but he was like, those are the people you need to think about, because he knew them because he was teaching them. And I guess that sparked there he is, I'll pay attention to him. And he kind of looked like Elvis more when he was younger, and I really like Elvis too. So that pulled it in as well. But so we met and we already knew each other. So that whole get to know you stage of dating was not necessarily there because we already knew. And then, we just dated. We were friends at first. It just went out and then just became more of always going out with him or whatever. And so, yeah, that's how we met. Yes, I would love for my children to grow up in a church like where I'm at now, Station Hill, which is basically Brentwood Baptist baby. Obviously, I love it because I've never left. So it's a part of who I am and who we are as a family. Like, people know, oh, you go to Brentwood Baptist. My parents go to Brentwood. Dale's parents go to Brentwood. Or my sister goes. Dale's sister goes. It is literally a huge family here, and even not just our blood relatives. It's everyone's family. So because you get those relationships and you get people, groups, where you count on them to help take care of you too in time of need. But my children, they love Station Hill. And I think when you're at somewhere good and you love it, it's hard to find something else to replace it. So to leave, when we left Brentwood to go to Station Hill, that was hard too. Even though it was a baby, it was still hard to leave all the people we grew up with because we truly grew up here. And leaving here and leaving choir and then going to a church that didn't have a choir, but our new friends were there, so that made it easier. There was a huge group of us that were going, so we weren't alone. So yeah, but as we grow and build campuses, maybe they won't have to worry about it. Wherever they go, there'll be a campus for them to join. In 50 years from now, I kind of hope my kids are here doing this video and being able to tell their stories of what they've learned along the way and what they gathered spiritually and friendships. Brentwood as a whole, as a church, multiplication out, that's all I can think of is just spreading out even further because it's going to happen. So, but that in that multiplication, that those churches thrive just as well as these earlier ones are. It's not just let's put a church out there, and that's never the church what Brentwood stands for once, but that we grow and grow big and strong.